All right, so today we're going to start with a variety of topics, all being asked to the AI. And Chat GPT gives me the hard answers on a lot of topics that are burning a hole in your head right now. So these are questions that I've asked it, and it has taken everything that I've written, everything that you guys have heard. Chat GPT has heard it 100 times more. And for that reason, it has customized itself to my attitude towards the world, towards life, and how I feel about work. So when I ask it these questions, it already has a premeditated version of what it's going to say to me, which fascinates me and frightens me simultaneously. So, like I said, I've been drinking till 4 o'clock in the morning today. So, if I sound incoherent or a little bit more animated than normal, it's because I am. I had a very rough night in which I told the person that I really cared about how I felt about her, and then I got the question mark. So, I'm waiting on a reply on that. Again, let's thank our friend alcohol for making us extra honest in the middle of the night. And let's get into this. So, yesterday, while I was waiting for the girl that has never cut a male's hair before to finish cutting my hair, I was typing this into the machine. And it came back with answers that I didn't appreciate. So I asked the machine, why is there so little opportunity for the lower class? And it came back with an answer that is very long, that included economic stratification, educational disparities, wage stagnation, and the rising cost of everything, a lack of social mobility, automation and outsourcing, and systemic discrimination. These talking points are what it uses to explain every single topic that I ask it about wealth, the wealth gap, disparity, people who don't have the opportunity to ever feel comfortable in their lives. Same thing over and over and over again, which means that there is a true problem within our society as to why we're not getting ahead. If the artificial intelligence knows how screwed we are, then we are truly screwed as the proletariat because it doesn't change. It keeps saying the same thing over and over again. If you've been on my channel for any amount of time, a year, 2 years, or all 18 years that I've been on YouTube, you know that I keep saying the same thing. And I turn to the artificial intelligence to give me hope that I'm not going to end up in the pine box retirement community. But the more I ask questions, the more the answers become darker and more severe for mankind as a whole. So after it gave me this answer, oh, I forgot to add a lack of support networks, which is a video that I made just last weekend. Policy failures, government policies in many cases failed to address the need of the lower class effectively. So after it gave me all of this horrible news, I decided to ask it one following question. What does immense effort mean? Because it told me that the combination of these factors create an environment where the lower class is trapped in a cycle of limited opportunities. And breaking free often requires immense effort, followed by the word luck in capital letters, or extended help that is not always available. That means rich friends. These systemic issues can make it feel like the game is rigged, keeping those at the bottom struggling while the wealth and opportunities remain concentrated at the 1%. So my thought was, what the heck does it mean by immense effort? And then followed by the word luck. What is the artificial intelligence trying to tell me by immense effort? So my follow-up question, What does immense effort mean? And this is what it wrote. Immense effort refers to a level of hard work, perseverance, sacrifice that goes above and beyond what is typically expected or sustainable for most people. It's the type of effort required when the odds are stacked against someone, making success much harder to achieve for people in the lower class. Immense effort means. Then we have the bullet points. Remember what it just said: immense effort and luck. What does that remind you of? That is straight up the lottery. Immense effort to buy lottery tickets day in, day out. Sit there like a hamster scratching at the lottery tickets, watching the screen with your lottery ticket in it, and continuing to buy into the belief that your immense effort is going to work out. What the artificial intelligence is telling us with these answers is that there's no way out of this. We are all screwed to the nth degree. There is no way out of the wage cage. Immense effort and luck do not, in my opinion, go together in the same sentence. Now, think of it this way. In the gold rush, the America drew in millions of people from all over the world who think that they were going to rush into America and hit it rich. Most left wretchedly poor. The only people that got rich during the gold rush were the people that were selling accommodations and tools to those fools. That means that in America right now, if you think that hard work and immense effort is going to make you rich, you're a fool. And I've been a fool my whole life. In fact, I was asking Mello this yesterday because I was reading this. I was sending these things to Mello in real time while I was doing this research. And I asked her why she didn't even bother to try. And she said basically she didn't care. She wasn't interested. She didn't understand or acknowledge the fact that she needed to try in order to be successful. So by every mark, by every statistic, by every test, by every way of analyzing, both Mello and I, even though I have 4 college degrees, have reached how do I put this? Financial failure. Neither of us is ever going to be rich. And I put forth immense effort towards it. I studied, I worked, I upskilled, I did everything humanly possible. Whereas Mello just went with the flow. She worked entry level jobs, she works in retail, and yet when you look at our paychecks, the immense effort that I put in comparatively to her effort is not visible. On paper, when you look at our incomes, it is not visible at how much work I put into life to be successful. And it didn't matter. I could have taken the same route that she did in order to be at my same job. My job requires absolutely zero education. I have never used my education to generate a thin dime. And Mello right now is at work making money without any education whatsoever, without any higher education whatsoever. And yet we reach the same point in our job success by 2 different routes. Immense effort, not so much immense effort. And that to me is staggering that people can try so hard and still fail miserably. I consider myself a complete financial disaster, buried in student loan debt, buried in credit card debt, a job that sucks you know what, beyond belief. And that requires so much effort, so much responsibility, so much attention to detail, and so many different skills. And yet, you're not rewarded. You're expected to have these things. And that's what truly bothers me is they expect the people that come into certain jobs, even bottom level jobs, to have this incredible amount of talent, and then they won't pay you for it. And I see it everywhere at my corporation. People underpaid. And unless you drag a mountain of data over to HR and you show them this is what you're supposed to be paying me, they will pay you minimum wage. In fact, I just talked to a girl 2 weeks ago who said that they were trying to pay her $14.35 to manage an office building. And they didn't care because they wanted to pay her at her old job rate. They just want to consider it a lateral move. The same thing they tried to do to me. They wanted me to move into a position where I had full responsibility as a lateral move. And you kind of just scratch your head. It's like, this is why your turnover rate is 110%. This is why 50 people walked off the job on Friday. 50. You have to take into consideration how the hell are you going to replace 50 people who walked off the job? You don't. It causes you to suffer. It causes everyone around you to suffer when people leave and you don't have replacements. And the likelihood of you replacing all of that talent that just walked off the job with competent people is highly unlikely. Yet you continue to do the same thing, Evil Corp. You force the people that are left, the people that can't leave, the desperate of the desperate, to have to stay there in that position and endure the pain and suffering of your workplace. And yet you don't understand. This is what I've seen my entire life is management that doesn't understand. Management that keeps hiring the same losers over and over again because those are the people that will stay for longer than a day. Once an ordinary person realizes what they expect from Evil Corp on the first day, they're not there at the end of the day. You know why? Because nobody wants to be exploited that badly. So, getting back to my original talking point, because we still have 2 entire pages of ChatGPT to go through. So, to the question of what does immense effort look like? According to the artificial intelligence, immense effort includes the following 7 bullet points. And remember what I said about how it comes to the same conclusions regardless of what I ask it when it comes to wealth disparity in this country. Number one, working multiple jobs. Often people have to juggle 2 or 3 jobs just to cover basic living expenses. That means you're sacrificing personal time, sleeping, and your overall health in order to work those jobs. This can mean working long hours, including weekends, without sufficient sleep. Even the artificial intelligence knows that this immense effort will take a drastic effect on your overall life, not just at work, but your life. In my opinion, being poor, poverty is the 4th leading cause of being in the pine box early in America, but it also depletes you of overall energy to do anything else. At this point, you become a human robot for the system. Immense effort means that you're sacrificing your mind, your body, and your spirit for Evil Corp that doesn't care. The second you drop, just like the Derby horse, you drop, Evil Corp moves on. It doesn't care why you're not there anymore. It fills the position yet again with another person that's desperate enough in order to do this to themselves. And it doesn't care. The executives, the rich, the government, everyone knows what this means is to work yourself into an early pine box retirement. Yet no one gives a freaking beep, beep, beep about the proletariat. I mean, let's go back to that example of that woman at Wells Fargo Bank. She laid there for 4 days without blinking, without drinking, without going to the bathroom. And finally, the only thing that gave away that she wasn't among us anymore was the smell of her rotting rear end. And yet no one cared. Family, friends, co-workers, janitors, no one cared until she became a nuisance in the office. The smell drove people to identify that she was no longer with us. Same thing happened at my house. There was a man who was on the other side of the wall where I park my car every day, and he went into the ether at some point. And it took days or weeks before the odor of that person coming across the wall into the apartment complex bothered the residents enough for someone to go back there and check to see what that odor was. And when they finally walked around and saw what it was another person that had been returning to the earth slowly, being eaten by ants, according to some of the images that I saw on a person's cell phone. It was disturbing, but it happens. So I have 3 minutes to finish this up, and I am going to skip over to my other two talking points at this point because I'm not going to make it through all of these in this video. So I wrote, I have worked so hard my whole life, but I am not rich. AI's response, it sounds like you're reflecting on a feeling many people share, working hard but not seeing the financial rewards you'd expected. There are several factors at play, both personal, systemic, that can contribute to this experience. Again, wage stagnation, the economic system, job versus career, overwork and burnout, and systemic barriers like ageism. Cultural expectations. There are also the societal push for constant work, something you covered in your content about overwork and the corporate pet dynamic. You're pushed to work harder without getting the financial rewards because of the culture that values exploitation of labor under the guise of hard work leads to success. This is the machine telling us this. So, my second question this morning was, why have I worked so hard to be wretchedly poor? And it wrote, it's tough to reflect on working hard only to feel trapped financially. The system often feels rigged, especially when you put in the effort and still don't get ahead. You've invested in building your skills, working in multiple fields, and even managing large responsibilities, yet the rewards don't seem to match the effort you put in. Part of your frustration might come from how the modern economy is structured. Wages have stagnated for years. Why do we keep seeing that? Wage stagnation. Isn't it time for the proletariat to say an end to wage stagnation? Because imagine, let's flip this on its head, and let's say there weren't record profits every single year. Well, guess what? It's starting to happen. I read at least 3 different articles yesterday showing that the economy is coming to recession. I have told you guys for years that we've been in a depression recession, and no one wants to believe it. Everyone wants to believe the headlines of the booming economy, but the layoffs are happening. They're letting, I think GM is going to let 1,800 people go, and it's going to affect the entire economy. Because I also read that the Jeep brand, the 4x4 brand, it's priced out its customers from its product by making its vehicles into the $60,000 to $100,000 range. And this is what they've done to everyone. No one in the proletariat, at least in the bottom segments of the proletariat, can afford to purchase $100,000 vehicle to drive to work every day. It just doesn't happen. So corporate America, Evil Corp, has priced out its customers from everything, even the grocery store. If you guys saw that little video I posted yesterday, when bologna is $9, you have priced out your customers from buying bologna. You priced out your customers from the American dream with the cost of education. You have priced out everyone. Everyone is wretchedly poor. And there is no solution to that because they just don't care. Either you can afford it or you can't. Remember, if you have to ask how much something costs, you can't afford it. And that has come down to the very simple product of bologna in the grocery store. They don't care what they've done. And they're going to continue to do it until the proletariat, again, has to lift their hand up in the air and say what they want. They want a comfortable life that's affordable. Evil Corp says no. Guess what? If push comes to shove, I think it's time to push Evil Corp right down the stairs and then let out a maniacal laugh.